we'll talk in another episode about the concept of time and, all of these kind of elements of, because, that was one thing that I was like kind of dumbfounded with. I was like, what do you mean the past, the present, and the future are all happening in the same moment? Excuse me? That's not possible. That is certainly not possible. And the simplest thing that I tried to, it took a lot of time. Yeah, here we go, talking about time. Scratch that. Took a lot of effort in many present moments to have the awareness to apply conscious thought to say, how could this potentially work? Could it be that every present moment, right, is a future moment of a past moment, and every present moment is a past moment of a future moment, right? And just thinking about that for a moment, and then realizing, and listen, it took me, and just using time as an element of gauging when things happen in my life or our lives, instead of like a timeline that we need to adhere to. That was probably one of the biggest things that helped me try and change my perspective of time as being a record marker of when things happened within our current awareness, instead of it being something that I'm always trying to be on a timeline against, right? And giving ourselves the opportunity to look at it from a different perspective and turn it upside down, right? And just as if we're in our world and we're thinking, we got to do this, we got to do this, we got to do this, we got to do this. No, Steve Harvey, we get to do this. We get to wake up. We get to do this. We get to do that. Like we have the ability to make choices. And everybody's saying, oh, I can't do that. I got jobs. I got, bills. I got all these things. I got a family. I got problems. Well, certainly we all do. But like, what if just one moment a day, we make a decision towards something that is better or joyful or happy or positive, right? And then giving ourselves credit to say, all right, I did one thing today. And the next day you do two things. The next day you do three things. As Warren Buffett will tell you on compound interest, like compound consciousness. Can we use that principle, please? Like, I've never heard that, but I just came up with it. It sounds like a good term, right? So like, just as you put money in the bank and you get compound interest, right? To be able to let that be something that's why he wants to see his compound interest come to fruition of everything he started in the 60s, right? So like, we can be the ones that apply that compound interest to our own consciousness. We are the ones that do that. We are the ones that make choices to either do that or not do that, right? And so that when we do it and we choose to do that and we choose to apply things that might bring us happiness or might bring us joy, who knows? You might find yourself in a way in which you look back and you're like, wow, I don't do those things anymore. Or wow, look at what I'm doing now. Or wow, look at the people that are around me, right? That I've surrounded myself with. I've let go of all of those toxic, relationships and all of those toxic circumstances. And I've grown beyond that. It didn't happen in a day. It didn't happen in a week. It happened over months or it happened over years. But you know what? I kept moving and I kept moving forward. And I claimed control. I claimed control of my energy. And I was able to move forward. And oh my God, wow, look at that. Look at that. Something to celebrate, something to be happy for, and something to be grateful for. And, that in and of itself, gratitude is you start, as I mentioned, the birds and the trees and the leaves and the flowers. It's like everything just becomes so much more simple, and the ability to appreciate little things is incredible and see things in an entirely different way. Oh, great perspective. So, one thing like the eyes, what do they say? Like, well, the quote is, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? But I'm going to replace beauty with perspective for a moment, right? And so perspective is certainly in the eye of the beholder, right? And I think all of us, if we just think about that for a moment, that we would see that as true. I didn't even realize this until recently, and my wonderful wife helped me kind of appreciate this. And she's like, of course, that's how it is. And I'm like, great, now I know. But it was so the sun, if you're ever looking at I'm super fortunate to live near the beach. And so we walk on the beach frequently, and I was walking in the morning and I'm like, man, like, I feel like the sun's following me, like the sun rays along the ocean. It was sunrise and the sun rays along the ocean. And I'm like, oh, I guess because you can clearly see the sun reflecting off the ocean and off of boats. And then I'm over there and it's there too. And I'm like, well, that can't be the case. And so I had this like epiphany. I was like, oh my God, like the sun is everybody's own perspective, right? And so what might look like it's sunny over here for you, it might not be sunny over there for them, right? And if we take that, I mean, I'll say it's an analogy, but it's a reality. If we take that perspective or that application of that point, and then apply that to our own lives for perspective and what we see and what we experience. And yes, of course, every moment can either be, not a miracle or it can be a miracle, right? And give ourselves credit and trust ourselves. And it's like, even before this whole journey started, people would say, well, find yourself, be yourself. What the hell does that even mean? Nobody knows what that means. I didn't know what that meant, right? I had no idea. I had no idea what that meant. And it really just was a series of choices in which I said, there's got to be something better. There's got to be something better. And oh my God, if I can choose joy, then let me choose joy. And let me feel what that feels like. Let me feel what that feels like. What does joy feel like? I had a hard time when I was meditating and Joe Dispenza's telling you, feel positive feelings. What the hell does that feel like? I don't know what that feels like. The last time I felt a positive feeling, was like, I don't know. Who knows?